ressenti partout.
All right, I'm done talking about media and how they're fucked
I
up.
need I need a break. Let's talk about a movie, man. Like
Yes. All
I
right. Yeah.
I think
Let's. Yeah, we're done. We're done.
yeah,
We got all off our chest. You know, we've achieved catharsis. So yeah, let's get to the movie review and end tonight's stream. And tonight, the movie review is of the movie Fighter, starring Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. It's a biopic of Boston native son Mickey Ward, who who comes up and becomes yeah, well, I think it was a heavyweight champion or
welterweight.
welterweight. That's right, welterweight. Uh, and yeah, so it's a bit of a biopic, but as Rob, because this is Robert's first time, or this was Robert's first time viewing it, and so he had no idea, and I didn't want to ruin it for him, so I just told him uh, to expect it not to be like a typical boxing movie.
Yeah. So when I was watching this, because it has elements of other films in there. It does have elements
Right.
of like your boxing great film Raging Bull. It has elements of Requiem for a Dream, uh, and it's not it, but I guess it kind of sort of has some elements of Rocky, but not really because Mickey Ward. It's obviously Mickey Ward actually exists, unlike, unlike
Unlike
Rocky.
Rocky Balboa.
But yeah, it's like it's the guy. When he wasn't a nobody, um, he was
But he wasn't a somebody.
somewhat an accomplished boxer. Um, but and it the film has showcase. And it's not like it wasn't about boxing. I mean, obviously that was a strong element of the film, but like it's showcasing this family dysfunction, drug
Let me
addiction.
get the give them the synopsis real fast, and let's really jump into it. All right, the fighter. For Mickey Ward, boxing is a family affair. His tough as nails mother is his manager. His half brother Dickie, once a promising boxer himself, is his very unreliable trainer. Despite Mickey's hard work, he's losing, and when the latest fight nearly kills him, he follows his girlfriend's advice and splits from the family. Then Mickey becomes a contender for the world title, and he and his family earns a shot at redemption. So yeah, as Rob was saying before that, yeah, this isn't your typical movie. It's not in the style of Rocky. Um, but like as Robert also said, there's a lot of elements of other movies like Raging Bull or I think for the before we started, I think you said like Requiem of Dream.
Yeah,
A little, it's a little Rocky like, just in the sense of like an underdog tale.
that's the part of like where Rocky kind of like plays into it.
Mhm.
But it's like
But
Mickey Ward wasn't a bum. He was an
mhm,
accomplished fighter.
right,
Just yeah, it's just uh but yeah, no, it's not necessarily showcasing boxing. It's showcasing family dysfunction. It's showcasing drug addiction. Um, and one thing that I noticed from this, like in a lot, you see a lot of this in these type of kind of small town communities where you have a guy in the family who has talent. Like Mickey Ward was a definite talent, but he's kind of like it's like the crab bucket where the one crab tries to escape the bucket and all the other crabs drag him back in, and that's essentially what was happening with Mickey Ward's family. They kept fucking dragging him back in, and it took you know tremendous effort to get away from that dysfunction. It's not because he didn't love them, but like they were holding him back from him accomplishing everything that he could have accomplished. And the thing is that he may have even been an even bigger fighter had he not, been trapped in this just terrible family.
Right. Like in the synopsis said, like Mickey and his brother Dickie, they're half brothers. So his older brother Dickie is from a previous marriage, and uh, Mickey's from his mom's current marriage. But they out of besides their mother, they had I think what like 6 or 7 sisters.
Yeah,
Um, and this just and this and it was
they're
yeah and
all
it like
they're all fucking losers.
right yeah the women of the family don't really amount to much, and the mother and Mickey and Dickie's mother, she's trying her best to uh, trying her she's trying her best to elevate her son. I mean, I think Rob would agree with me, but she failed in the case of Dickie. And she was most definitely on her way of ruining Mickey's chances.
Yeah,
Um, but it was just like, but she wasn't able to see it, and in the between the family dynamic, you could see that there was a bit of favoritism uh, uh, demonstrated by their mother. Because no matter what Dickie was doing, even though like she knew he was like a drug addict, and he was constantly letting his brother down, she constantly made excuses for him, and and she would constantly like the scene where they're supposed to go to Atlantic City for that first fight early in the movie. Um, Dickie is late because he's at the crack house and he's high as shit, and you know, the entire family goes to track him down, and Dickie still wants to put on airs, for the sake of his mother, and say, oh, I'm not, no, I'm not addicted, I'm not nothing, and he tries to make a run for it. But even as their mother sees him try to hop a fence, she still doesn't say anything, and just like, hurry up and get in the car so we can get out of here.
yeah,
And I think it's really it's really there's the exclamation mark is put on it towards the end of the movie when Mickey finally addresses that, and he says like, well, I'm your son too. Why don't you look after me the way you looked after Dickie? And I think him standing up to his mother, I think it really opened her eyes. It made her like even though she realized what she was doing, and she had she reassured him like, oh, of course I love you. Why do you think I'm doing all this? Because I love you.
yeah. It's I think it's like it's I have a extended family that's kind of a lot like this in a way, where it's just a ton of dysfunction, and you have a lot of family who just they know too much about one another and they get in each other's way a lot of the times. And it's not because like it's not necessarily out of ill intent, or they're just trying to hold you down because like they're not in the best place. They mean well, but there's just so much dysfunction that they it's like they can't help it. It's
Right,
and
and
it just becomes a
and
mess.
I think I think envy would be I think would be an adequate like sub theme in this movie, because especially like with like the women, like all of like their sisters, like when Mickey starts dating Amy Adams's character, you know they constantly are, as you said, like the crabs in the bucket. They're constantly, talking bad about her, and starting, perpetuating rumors that she's like this,
super slut or something. Yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly, super slut, and and so,
Thinks
but
it's all nice.
but she's like, but yeah, Amy Adams is like, attractive, and then like all of the sisters are like, uh,
Uggos.
uggos,
They
and
are
so,
fucking dogs. Oh,
woof. Um, so yeah, I mean, you definitely, yeah. So you and like, yeah. So envy might be a good sub theme for this movie. Like even Mickey was envious of his of the attention that his older brother got from the mother. Um,
right.
so or and
You know,
then and I think and also like for the mothers like she was envious of anyone who tried to take wrestle control away of her sons.
yeah,
Like when the father goes and sets up this deal for a new manager. Um, what is it? But the mom just like loses it. It's like, how can you betray me like this? And it's just like it's not necessarily that that her husband betrayed her. It's just she was envious because here was this other person who was more successful at promoting and and just managing people. And when all she had was Dickie, who had one shot, and I think uh, and I think, and I'm glad that they put this in there. But it's like that kind of like the hometown hero whose only claim to fame was something that he did like almost 20 years ago.
he was the Al Bundy of Lowell, Massachusetts.
Right? Yeah, uh, Dickie's one claim to fame was that he got to fight Sugar Ray Leonard uh, like 20 years ago, and
He knocked him down once.
yeah, knocked him down once. Not like and some and it's not even like in his mind he thinks that he knocked him down, but to other people it's like, oh, he tripped.
Yeah. It wasn't like he beat Sugar Ray Leonard. It was just
Right,
he knocked him down. He's the pride of Lowell. It's like fuck off. Like
right.
really?
Like
Like
knocked him down, but not knocked him out.
that would have been a big accomplishment. Sugar Ray Leonard was man. That guy was what at a time where like only people cared about the heavyweight championship as a like I think he was like a Sugar Ray was like a welterweight and like he gave people a reason to care about welterweights.
Hmm. True.
But no, the thing I like about this movie is because it is rough. It is a rough film to get through. Not because
Yeah,
like it's like it's a bad film, but like the emotional tension like in the film is very real.
yeah. It's
The
a what is it? It's a emotional hostage taking. That's what it is.
yeah, it's like I felt like I was taken hostage like in this film. It's like and I to be honest, I hated Mickey's family. I
Yeah.
felt like
I mean, when I
they're
first watched it, that's how I felt
annoying.
too.
I hated all of them. Like if Mickey was like the one reasonable person in this film, and it's like he's held hostage because he loves them, and they're all awful. They're all terrible.
Right.
But
And
they
it's funny
still
because
make
like it's interesting though because like the Amy Adams character Charlene
yeah
Charlene starts out as kind of like this lifeline, this saving figure, a savior figure, but she ends up becoming no better than his family
yeah
because what is it? It's when Dickie gets released from prison and he comes back thinking that he's gonna help train his brother, but what is it? Mickey made a deal with Charlene and said like, it's like you can't have anything, your family can't have anything to do with your business, essentially. Um, and so, but Mickey wouldn't have won his return fight without the advice of his brother. And so,
Right.
he then kind of takes agency of himself, even though like his entire life and even his career, other people were acting as agents for him, like whether it was his mother or his father, his brother, and even Charlene. He finally steps up and says, "Hey, this is my life. This is my shot to my shot to either win or fail. And I want my brother to be a part of it." And it's in that moment that he finally takes agency and like starts saying what he actually wants out of life or out of his career.
Yeah, that whole thing was like, with his everyone there, and it's like, and like his mom is, acting like she normally does, and he's like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Like, yeah, and there was that whole like speech was, yeah, you felt it, like it was very impassioned.
Mm-hmm. Right. For anyone who's ever, it doesn't even have to be necessarily a parent-child relationship, but any uh, kind of relationship where kind like look up to somebody, or someone was like your mentor, but they kind of don't do right by you. That speech that he gives is very cathartic, and it's very relatable, because it's like everyone has that person that they want to say that to. It's like, hey, you've held me back my entire life. You never looked out for me. You never did right by me, and now it's not my time. I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I just want to be able to. I just want to be the one to call the shots.
Exactly.
And that's very cathartic. Yeah, and for the character of Mickey in this movie, and I think just for people who's watching, it's like they know there's at least one. Everyone who watched that scene, there's at least one person that they wanted to say that speech to.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. There's been plenty of people I want to say that too. Um, yeah, I just this was a it's a great movie, but yeah, it's like, especially if like anyone that like kind of knows people like this, like especially if it's like your family, it's tough because it's like,
Yeah, this movie is an emotional suck. It is an emotional suck. Um, it's really good though. I think one of the things that is what makes this movie somewhat worthy of like enduring through is probably Christian Bale's performance.
oh dude, he well, he's such a method actor. Like, if someone told me that he actually smoked crack, for this film, I wouldn't be surprised. you know, he did lose a ton of weight, not quite as much as he did in The Machinist, but he did lose a ton of weight for this film.
Right, and this yeah, and
He
he's
had that slick
and this was movie
look.
he's probably coming off of doing Batman too.
Yeah, yeah, he did have that like kind of gaunt look to him, of
Mm-hmm.
someone that was a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what was it? I think this film had like 7 nominations for like Academy Awards, and it won for Best Supporting Actor and Actress. So Christian
Mm-hmm.
Bale won for Best Supporting Actor, and
And
the
this.
lady who played Alice, the mom,
Mm-hmm.
won for Best Supporting Actress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Bale sucked some dick too.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, with Christian Bale. I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah, just to
whatever
get
it
just
was
to
he
get like just to get the perspective of like a down and out desperate like cokehead. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Or crackhead,
did.
crackhead, I should say, crackhead. Yeah, I'm sure he sucks some. I'm sure he sucks some dick.
Oh, I it
Like
wouldn't
it's
surprise
for the
me.
row, man. It's for the row.
Yeah.
The how would I know what a crackhead is like if I don't suck some dick?
Or smoke crack. You know.
Right.
Yeah. It just the movie was well cast. The characters were very real, very raw. Uh, but man, it's just yeah, and it tugs at your heart. It tugs at your brain, and like it's uncomfortable, but like it's done well. Like it wasn't uncomfortable for no reason. It was uncomfortable because that's actually what happened, and it's a very
It's
real movie.
it's funny because you just reminded me. That's kind of how I felt watching Joker.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable, and not in exactly the same way, but Fighter did have that similar feeling of just kind of discomfort.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Was there like any like particular like scenes or like characters that you wanted to talk about a little bit more?
Well, I think uh, I think Dickie was a really interesting character. Just like his art was very interesting in that he
Yeah.
went from you know, drug addicted, you know, never, what's that word I'm looking for? Like used to be kind of somebody, used to be somebody, but now is like he's like having like that Al Bundy trajectory. Um, to then have and then to go to prison and and to kind of get himself right and having like that cold splash of water on him when they air the documentary, which he thinks in his drug addled mind he thinks that it's about his comeback, but really it's about crack addiction,
Yeah.
and then him like having to basically uh, be jeered by all the other inmates. I think uh, was a really great
It woke
scene.
yeah,
It
just
was
that
woke him
like
up. It was that cold splash of water that he needed to not see him, to get him out of that grandiose vision that he had of himself.
well, it's funny because the that whole like prison sequence with Dickie
Mm.
where he's coming off of like he's being detoxed essentially like
Right.
what his
He's going through withdrawal. He has the shakes. He's like he's
yeah, well,
sweating.
and
Yeah,
it's like
he's
he's
sweating
having all
profusely.
those like the hallucinations of like his past. That was the part that was like like felt like it was a scene right out of Requiem for a Dream in a sense because it's all the illusions that he had about himself. Obviously, like he's reliving his past, but like a lot of it's probably illusion too in some
Mm.
way.
Mm.
And and he's like, all right, he comes out of that thinking he's gonna be watching a documentary about his comeback that never ended up happening, and it turned out it's like he looks at it as like they're making fun of me. This whole thing was about making fun of me and like how I was, I'm a drug addict, and instead of in a way instead of feeling sorry for himself, he used that as a way to like I gotta get better,
Right,
and
and then you
he
have like you have the scene of him like getting into shape while in prison and doing sit ups and push ups and running the laps in the yard.
yeah.
And and I think the other great scene is when him and Charlene reconcile.
Well, and well
Maybe
that's
not
the thing.
reconcile, but definitely call a truce. They call a truce,
So
and
here's
she
the
makes
like
him.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say that if not reconciliation, but more or less they call a truce
Yeah.
And and one of the conditions is like she makes him live up to the reality that he didn't knock out Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard merely tripped.
Yeah. The thing was like that was powerful about that scene because obviously like that this is coming off of the whole very tense scene with like everyone between Mickey and everyone essentially, and you see him and Mickey and Dickie end up sparring, and Mickey just beats the shit out of him. And what you're thinking is that like Dickie's just gonna go and it's like he's just gonna go back into his old habits, and obviously he grabs the cake, his welcome back cake, uh, heads to the crack house and sees like all his old friends, kind of essentially hands them the cake, and then just continues walking on. And obviously you're thinking like, is he gonna just go back into like what he was doing before jail? And he doesn't. He had the strength to stay away from that lifestyle and try to like he actually you could see the genuine care that he had for his brother and for his success. And that's where
Right.
like he kind of he sucked it up and he made peace with the people that like wanted him out of Mickey's life. And it's like he he knew that Mickey needed him, but he also knew that Mickey needed these other people too that had been a part of his life. And he kind of made a truce and like made a deal with them. It's like he needs all of us, so we need to figure something out so that he can focus on what he needs to focus on to
Right. Yeah.
be a
Because
champion.
they realized that it wasn't about them. It's about Mickey. It's about what will make Mickey the best fighter possible. And you know, it's not that either camp was incapable. It's just they were stronger doing it together.
Exactly. And that to me was like the kind of like the most powerful part of the film is because
Hmm.
everyone kind of just instead of just they went from being all of them were extremely selfish
Hmm.
and they became selfless for the for the sake of Mickey for him to become a champion. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is a great film. I'm glad we chose it. I think it's a great way to close off um, Irish Month.
Word. Yeah. I just I watched this movie a long time ago, and then watching it again. Again, it's not one of those movies where it's like you can watch over and over again because it is again a bit of an emotional suck.
Yeah,
It will take a toll
yeah.
on you watching this movie because it's like, oh god, this family is so awful.
I feel like I
But
went a couple rounds in the ring after watching this film.
exactly. Um, all right, so I don't have anything else to say about this movie, unless you had some final thoughts. Let's give our review and wrap it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I'm ready to give my rating on it. I'm actually
Okay.
gonna go with a 4.
Hmm.
Mainly because like you said, it doesn't have like the necessarily like replayability
Hmm.
like other films do, but everything about it is just it's such a realistic type of. I mean, obviously it's a quote unquote biopic, obviously, but
Hmm.
there's something like the way that it was portrayed by all the actors. It was very raw and real, um, and they made it like the movie made me feel something. It kind of I felt like I was going through all that crap with Mickey Ward in a lot of ways.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on your rating, and I'm gonna give it this is a 4 as well. Very powerful movie. You know, again, it's just it's one of those you kind of it's weird. You almost have to be in the mood to watch this movie. But you know, if you've seen this once, it's not like you're rushing out and say, "Oh man, we gotta watch The Fighter." You know, it's not like one of those movies.
This I even without like this movie's gonna stick with me a while, even though I've only
Mm,
watched it once. But it's like one of those things that's gonna stick with me.
Yeah, that's another quality of this movie is that I guess I mean other than the story, it's I think the characters and the kind of conflict and then the conflict resolution is what is gonna stick with you the longest from this movie. Not necessarily the
Yeah,
story, but just like the characters and like you know the situations and just like the resolution of everything.
but yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, it sticks with me in a good way because it just
Mm,
I don't know. It was a great film. I liked how everyone portrayed the character, their real life counterparts, and I like that. I felt like I went through a few rounds myself, just
mm.
you know watching the film.
Emotionally though, emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally. Yeah, I wasn't actually boxing while I was watching.
I know you're like shadow boxing. It's like oh, but you're getting your ass kicked. Like, how the hell am I beating? How am I getting my ass kicked by a movie?
I no, trust me. I've watched a few films where it's like this movie is kicking the shit out of me,
Mhm.
and I'm not winning.
Yeah.
Like Burning did that to me a little bit.
Oh yeah. Uh, It's funny because it's like that's a movie where it gives you like this similar sense of like emotional like heaviness or suck, but it's like I kind of but I still wanted to watch it again.
No, I'm definitely gonna watch Burning again. But like, man,
Mm.
that just I had like it felt like it hit me extra hard.
Mm. Oh well, yeah, because you could because for you kind of put yourself in the shoes of the
Dude,
main
I was
guy.
there. That I was there.
Yeah. Given your experience, yeah. So I knew that you probably would relate really strongly with the main guy.
Don't worry, I wasn't cutting my wrist while I was watching the film though.
No, I thought you just be out, you know, just like screaming, just like yeah. I thought you'd be like in a thunderstorm, like just screaming at the thunder, it's like yeah,
Old man yells at cloud. Yep, definitely.
yeah. All right, well there you have it. That's our review of The Fighter. Both Rob and I give this a 4. Definitely recommend it. But yeah,
If you
the
haven't watched it, watch it. If you haven't watched it in a long time, go ahead and watch it again. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something to watch. It's a good film.
yeah, again, just forewarning, it will be an emotional drain uh, on you, but it's still a good movie. It's still competently shot and acted more than competently acted. I think it's particularly on the part of Christian Bale and the actress who played Alice. I think yeah, it's man, goddamn, I hated her, but then I still like had sympathy for her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.